Right, so we're back on wobbly cam for this one. This is, I'm actually filming this upside down, but I can turn it over later. This is the inside of an old washing machine that I took to pieces, and my plan is to try to make this into a disc sander for myself. Now I've been putting off this bit because I need to, in order to make this into a thing, I need to take this pulley off so that I can get the washing machine drum itself out from inside. Or at least I think I have to do that. Now I've tried to, this is a fairly conventional Allen Allen bolt and screw. I can't shift it even with my impact driver, and I don't want to round out the inside, so I'm going to have to use heat. So I'm going to have to get some heat on it, heat it up, and see if that helps me to shift it. I mean, the concept is that if this if you can imagine the opening of the dishwasher, the washing machine. Did I say dishwasher? The washing machine is here. The drum is here inside. If this was flipped upwards, you'd have an open drum at the front. So I'm going to remove the drum. That's going to become a fire basket. And my plan is to try and fit some kind of, if I can fit a disc inside here connected to this, and then mount that up. Then not only have you've got a sanding disc, you've also got a kind of nice strong manifold around it, or housing if you like, and furthermore you've got ports that you can use to suck the dust out. So I think it could work really well, and I don't want to spend the money buying myself a sanding disc. So, you know, why not just try and make one? The worst I can do is break it, and it's already broken. So right, I'm going to try and get some heat on it and see. I might do that with time lapse and see if that helps. I've got my blowtorch. And I've got my matches, and I will get my impact driver and Allen fitting ready. Oh god, and then we just have to see what we can do. All I've got to do is, if I do get it off, I've just got to remember that everything's going to be hot. Yeah, otherwise it's going to get quite painful quite quickly. What's helpful as well is because the insides of a washing machine is suspended, because it vibrates a lot, and there's a big ring of weight that goes on it. It's all tuned to avoid resonance, so it doesn't. The washing machine doesn't sort of just blow up really. But the motor, helpfully enough, is actually fitted to this. So that's the motor. Now there is some interesting power electronics that needs to be done to get the motor to work. Nothing too desperately complicated, but I have looked on YouTube at another channel, and I'll try and do some links to it, though I haven't done that yet on anything else. There's a relatively straightforward circuit you need to build that gives you control over this motor, because they're not completely straightforward. They're not just like turn it on and turn it off. They have you can build a circuit that drives it, and also will control the speed as well, so that might be helpful. But the first thing I need to do is to get this off, I think, and to see if that helps me to get the drum out from inside, and also I'm hoping leaves me with some kind of assembly that I can construct something to mount a disc onto, bearing in mind that I don't have a lathe or a mill, so I'll have to do it with whatever tools I have available and try and keep everything balanced. Okay, right, let me see if I can do this. I think I'm gonna just have a go at it, and I'll bring you back in once I've got it off. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Okay, back in a second. Well, I did it. I can't believe it. I got it out. It really put up a fight, and then I just poured loads of heat into it, and suddenly it moved. That was so much harder than I was expecting, though. Something about, I just don't quite have the right tools. I've got a blowtorch. It's not particularly substantial. This is like an Allen. Well, it's an Allen key really, but it fits into my impact driver. You can see, oh, there we go. That's the culprit. You can see that big dollop of Loctite they've got on there. Yeah, I just chucked heat at it and then gripped. I started off using the impact driver, but that just wasn't really touching it. So then I gripped this very hot blued bit of that in my big adjustable spanner, and then it just gave up and just moved. Awesome. Right, well, I'm really pleased by that, but I just hate it when things won't move. It freaks me out. Makes me feel like I'm right out of control for some reason. I need more, well, I just need to know what I'm doing, and I don't. Yeah, so anyway, this is now jammed into there, but I think I can probably get that out. This is now in theory able to move, but it isn't moving easily, so I suspect it's going to need a little bit of encouragement. But yeah, that's the result. I was having visions of needing to drill the end of this out. Oh God, I'm glad I didn't give up, because if I drilled that out, then I just don't know. It would have been a right mess. It would have been a right mess. It's always worth persevering. I must remember that. Okay, all right. Onwards and upwards. I wasn't planning to go into do loads of filming on this, but it's just got quite interesting, really. So this, when this came off, which it did with the help of I got a crowbar under it, and just kind of worked it off, came off, and then you'll see in the middle there's that what would you call it? Truncated circular section in the casting, and that actually fits over this. Actually, which was sticking out quite a lot more, and I couldn't quite work out what to do with it. I tried attaching a adjustable. It looked like the sort of thing that you could fit an adjustable spanner onto, so I tried kind of whether it was something that you could unscrew. But then I started just hitting it, and it actually, if you hit it, I used a rubber mallet. If you hit it in this direction, it's actually drifting it out of the bearing. So, and I think the whole drum assembly is moving this way, and I'm hoping that when it comes out, I'll be able to remove this part plus what attaches it to the drum, and then put that back in here and attach my sanding disc to it. But let's see. I'll come back in a sec. Okay, there we go. Two halves separated. That was tough. So if you can imagine, that was. God, this thing is damn heavy, even without. So that this was sticking up through there. There's two bearings, and they're clearly just an interference fit. So I had to drift this. I drifted it out, which is a sort of posh term for hitting it with a hammer. But what I managed to do to start with was, I think somewhere along the line, I managed to mushroom this bit a bit. I don't know when. I thought I was being really careful not to hit it in such a way as to do that. Yeah, so I mushroomed this out a bit by force of hammer blows, and when that got to this bearing here, which sounds a little bit crusty, be alright. When it got to this point where it was pressed in, it was just too much. It wouldn't go any further, so I had to then go inside here, drift it back again, so the thing popped out, and then I filed this down around the sides, the rounded sides, to give it enough clearance to actually push through this bearing, and it went. So so that is a bit raunchy, that. So that worked, and now it's out, and you can see what we've got a big cast aluminium spider which bolts into the drum at three places. So my intention is this. I'm going to cut a piece of ply to fit inside that spider, right, ideally, a correct diameter to fit inside, to screw in. I mean, I can always drill through there are actually some holes in the spider itself. I think I could maybe use those to fit a piece of ply to it, and then push the whole thing back into here, whack it back in, and Bob's your uncle. And and then I can remount the motor, remount the pulley. I think we'll be all right. Oh, that felt horrible though. I don't know, some weird thing about, maybe it's because I'm always working on my own, there's just some weird thing about messing around with machinery that, I don't know, I'm supposed to be an engineer and I do understand machinery, but I feel like I'm sort of just drifting into an irretrievable position, and I just really didn't want to break this thing, but I think I've done it. I think I've got it out. I can get the drum off. That'd be good. I'll get that drum off, and I'll get that will start its next life as a sort of fire basket for the terrace, which is great. And then I can start thinking about fitting something to the inside of that spider, and everything should start to get a bit lighter and easier to manage because it's not in all one big piece. Anyway, there you go, enough rabbiting on. Back on it. Okay, so I'm just trying to give an idea of where we've got to and what we've ended up with. So this is the drum, the back half of the drum housing. This is what this surprisingly heavy casting is what the perforated drum internally was attached to, and this is what is fitted to that shaft. Okay, and that will ultimately fit inside. I'll see if I can do this without. So that will be fitting inside there. The shaft will come out of the back and connect to this. We've got a motor that picks up on these mountings here. So that's all good, and I think I can put together the control electronics to drive that. And then between the motor and the pulley at the back, the last component is a drive belt, which I still have from the original washing machine. So yeah, so I'm going to have to find a I'm not sure what size. You can get proprietary sanding discs that fit. I don't know whether some of them Velcro on, some of them I think maybe you glue them on. So I'm going to have to develop I'm going to need a disc of ply, some means of picking up on these fittings from that piece of plywood. I think I can achieve that, and then a means of getting that getting the sort of disc of sandpaper positioned in the right location. That can't be that hard, can it? I don't know. I'll find a compatible size that makes it easy, and then I suppose really it's just a matter of building in a surface. I'm expecting to have basically a quarter of this showing, so you have a place to do your sanding. Maybe half of it showing. I'm not sure. Maybe half of it, and just have a flat surface that's perpendicular to the axis of the shaft, so you're getting an even a good sort of right angle when you sand stuff. And then finally, so I'm going to position things such that probably this port here is at the bottom, and so as the thing rotates, any dust is thrown down to the bottom, and then I'll connect up my dust extractor to this port. I'll blank the other ports off, and that'll pull the dust out. So that was all right. It was harder than I expected. Washing machines are pretty heavily engineered pieces of gear, but then I suppose if you think this thing is spinning around at 1400 RPM with a couple of kilos of washing in it in your kitchen, I suppose they have to be built pretty heavily. I mean, it's heavy now, and this has had all its balance weights taken off, or well, they're not really balance weights, but they're more sort of they're a dynamic balance, if you like. So yeah, respect to washing machines, but yeah, and I suppose the last thing I'll need to do is I need to build some kind of frame to pick up on some of these mounting points on the back, and then the intention is to kind of build it into the wall there so it sits up on the wall. That will all also be woodwork. So yeah, good progress. Hopefully more progress next time I'm on.